Hi. Want to hang out? I want to hang out. For story time with Ophelia Immune. For our afternoon story time, I will be reading us a chapter that I wrote and can give away called The Flyers. For afternoon story time, I recommend a second cup of coffee with dinosaurs on it, and also plenty of chocolate ready to support you and your story time needs. The Flyers. Kite is not afraid of the daylight. She walks past her open window fearlessly and says that all of the good radio shows are on in the morning, because all of the best newscasters demand to be home before dark. She says that you can tell which towers are the radio signal towers on the tops of buildings, because they're the only ones without laundry hanging on them. Nobody wants to mess up their favorite programs. Soap operas in French, quiz shows with loud buzzers, and a daily news update with Melanie in the morning crackle dryly out of the fuzzy felt circles that sit underneath the gray plastic knobs. Our antenna is propped against a claw mark on the wooden pane of our window, open to let the sun in. Kite says that the light emphasizes her assets. She looks down the cloth that I used to hide the bathroom. She took down the cloth that I used to hide the bathroom mirror, stretched one of her jade earlobes, and poked a small silver hook through the wobbly center. A little plum bangle hangs from the silver hook. She kisses her reflection and flings the drop of blood into the bathtub, where it splatters. She doesn't wipe it off. She pierces herself with more jewels, red, blue, and pink. She doesn't offer me any, but I would have said yes. She sees me looking. Maybe you should steal some jewelry the next time we go exploring. She tweaks my cheek on the way to her backpack. She pulls out a bottle of lavender oil and rubs it into her neck and the forests under her arms. Juliet tries to grab a bite, but Kite just smiles at her, reaches into her pack, and pulls out a few new ribbons for the leash. I think this is a little more your speed. She ties it onto Juliet's tether, at which Juliet snarls. Manners, manners, Juliet. Come on, Ophelia, let's go. Go where? It's morning. So? I don't like to go out in the day. What are you so scared of? The Rangers? Like you couldn't handle a few of those, even if they paid any attention to you. You can't just sleep all day while your decaying sister clatters around breaking all your stuff. She's not breaking all of the... It's just that... She drags me outside by my elbow. I don't tell her who is looking for me, that I could get her killed too. I should tell her, but I don't. She wraps both hands around my bicep and bats her eyelids at me until I agree not to run back inside. She sweats against my slick skin, but I can't infect her. She kisses my undecorated ear and prances into the crowds of daytime humans. She knows where to go, the tallest buildings, past the clinic, away from the factories, 30, 50, 70 floors above the markets that squat around their ankles selling hiker's stew and soap sewn into cloth sacks and branches carved into spoons. There are tangles of day laborers raising their hands and volunteering to carry freshly repaired generators and rich elderly grandmothers up to the 29th and 46th floors in exchange for packets of yeast, salt, and flour. Just as Kite promised, nobody pays any attention to us. Nobody looks at us. Nobody cares about us. Not that we were green, not that I had destroyed an auction, not that I had been brown. They can't be bothered. We don't look like we have piles of coins to spend, but with the nice clothes that Kite dresses us in, we don't look like we're troublemakers. We don't lean over the edges of their stands and peer at their homemade goat cheeses while pickpocketing their fresh eggs, because we don't need to eat eggs. The beggars don't notice us either. They're too busy with their ranger avoidance and fake canes and crutches, and their real canes and real crutches. The day workers are too busy shouting for the attention of even better dressed employers who stand on top of benches with scarves held over their mouths as they select from among the stinking laborers. I duck and shrink the first time I see a ranger, but with no more than a glance in our direction, he approaches a more obvious target, the nearest huddle of squatting beggars, and pokes them in the ribs with his baton until they move out of his sight. When he has finished bullying them, he cajoles a group of grandmothers in shawls to show him what they carry in their woven baskets. They give him a whole chicken so that he won't take their cart full of potatoes and eggs. He doesn't bother to wonder if we were young, unarmed wives sent to buy supplies for our husbands, or if we're two squatter girls about to get abducted for sale at auction, or if we need any kind of protection at all. He's off around a corner to steal himself a fresh keg of moonshine before he can think of the ways that he could profit from two lonely but well-dressed girls. Doesn't anybody care that we are green? I ask, shocked not to be chased for anything at all. Does it look like anyone is patrolling for anyone but themselves? If anybody stared at us long enough to see, we could beat the sausage casings out of them and disappear back into the crowd. I don't want to beat the sausage casings out of anybody. Hey, Kite flashes a model gray paper in front of my nose. Look at this flyer. It says there's a concert this afternoon on the 10th floor of that limestone building just around the corner. It's a crappy flyer. I could make a better one. The ink is all smudged. But hey, a free concert is a free concert. Admission is 2 canned goods to benefit the Rangers. I don't want to benefit the Rangers. I don't think we should be in an audience. Come on, don't be such a chicken. We'll steal more than we donate. She steers me through the crowd with 5 knuckles on each of my hips, tickling the bare skin beneath my jeans. I can't resist her attention or the jokes that she tells me while she lifts 4 cans of creamed corn and ushers us back into the throngs of people, her arms full of loot. She whips past a yarn stall, and then, instead of following the long wispy strands that dangle down her spine, I am following a white, wide-brimmed Sunday hat with buttons arranged like flowers. She jams a yellow straw sun hat with duck feathers over my temples and shouts for me to keep my head down while she pays the concert bouncer with the corn tins. No, wait. I tug on her belt loops. Wait. I have to tell you something. The heavy buttons on the brim of her crocheted hat make it droop over her eyes when she whirls to look at me. She brushes me off her arm. You worry too much, she says. Look, I attacked an auction, and the Rangers are looking for me. I rattle. She spins again, lifting her brim to look at me this time. You what? I attacked an auction, so the Rangers are looking for me. You attacked Rangers? Yeah, that's how Swan, the girl you killed on the roof. I didn't kill a girl, I killed a zombie. Well, that's how she got infected. We got sold, and then we ambushed the buyers and sellers with Molotov cocktails, and we burned a bunch of vans, and hit some buyers and sellers pretty hard, and we stole their girls, and sent them to a safe house with a guy named Carl. Kite's mouth and eyes were frozen mid-smile. So when we did that, I continue, they called the Rangers, and I'm pretty sure they're looking for me. Kite closes her mouth and grasps my forearms. Well, she says. A bit barbaric, but I think I'm impressed. Is this really true? Well, it didn't end well, and now we should find out if they're really after you. Oh, yeah, I don't think that's a... Yeah, you really don't, do you? You really don't think. Let's go. She smiles at me, twines her fingers around mine, and prances us directly towards the concert. We keep our hat brims low as the ranger working the door examines our canned corn. He stoops to fit under the green limestone entryway that he's guarding. We keep our yellow teeth hidden behind closed lips while he squints at our cans. Expired, he comments, frowning over his bushy beard. Gristle dangling from the lunch that he was still chewing. His tattoo bulges as he wipes his jaw on his sleeve. And it's just corn. Get in line behind the folks who at least brought us some beets. Oh, come on. Cream corn goes with everything. Kite pouts, but she lets me drag her away to our assigned spot in the concert line. Ladies in nicer hats than ours, with real flowers, stand in the front, fondling their cans of artichokes and mandarin oranges that they couldn't wait to give to the Rangers Association. Behind them are beets, bean, corn, and nut butter holders. Behind us, the cabbages and sauerkrauts. The band of musicians enters past the line, toting their mandolins, trombones, and a black and white keyboard with a long cord dangling behind it. This all looks super normal. I don't think anybody's after you, Ophelia. You didn't really attack an auction, did you? Are you bullshitting me? The ladies leaned forward, beckoned to the band with their silk scarves, and tucked the fresh petals from their hats into the shirts of the musicians. The musicians bowed to them and kissed their hands. A small vial of olive oil tumbles out of the ample cleavage of a lady who is attempting to kiss the neck of the accordion player. The woman gasps. The oil is the finest item she had brought for the Rangers. She snaps her fingers and a girl totters out from behind her scarred, skinny legs, dressed in a frock of holes and patches. She is dirty and scuffed, and when she lunges for the escaping oil, she trips over the drummer's foot, landing squarely on the music stand, knocking it to the ground, scattering sheets of paper down the line of attendees. The drummer pauses for a moment, strokes his beard, snatches up the vial of olive oil, and hands it to the young girl sprawled across his feet. He lifts her up and dusts her arms. The owner of the oil and the girl rushes forward as quickly as she can, free herself from the gaggle of hats and tinned pineapples. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's new. She's very new. The lady digs her smooth nails into the girl's kidneys. You clumsy brat. I knew I paid too much for you. The drummer helps the girl back up from her knees again, slips a package of crackers into her patchwork pocket, and disappears behind the curtain into the concert. The lady punches the tall child again, daring her to complain or rub at her sore spots. I hit a bass note from deep within my chest, and I realize that I am only barely restrained by Kite's body-locking hug around my middle. I strain against the worn-out velvet rope that contains us. Whoa there, Kite concerns. Damn, Oh, you really are more savage than I gave you credit for. We're in a lobby full of Rangers, and they're pals. What are you going to do? Attack all of them? I thought you said we could take them, I rattle. She drags me, gagged with her hand over my mouth, out of the concert building. I rage against her restraint and incoherently flail and gesture that we should go back in and save that poor clumsy girl, bought by a lady who doesn't even spare her the humiliation of public bruises. I don't stop my slavering insistence until Kite throws me up against the bare limestone, points to the alleyway, tells me to use my eyes, and then lets me go. Jesus, you idiot. If they're really looking for you, you want to attack inside of a building full of Rangers? Besides, why don't you worry about the bigger problem than the one lady and the one girl? 20 yards deeper down the alleyway, there's a man with a hideous mustache barely covering a jagged scar, and another with a gap-toothed smile beaming from above his filthy bow tie. There's a rickety, fresh hot grits stand, hastily constructed out of scraps, but they're not selling grits. There's a long line of girls standing behind the money takers. They're selling girls at a concierge stand. I march directly towards them. Kite stifles a giggle, reaching for the sickle on the back of her belt. Wow, wind you up and watch you go. The stand collapses when vast floppy rear end of the man I kick into it falls backwards. His jowls flap as the splinters fly around him. Flecks of gyro yogurt sauce and shattered pressboard clatter across his chest. I spit down on Uncle Donnie. He laughs up at me, even as I press one of my laced sneakers against his crotch. Uncle Donnie. I knew it! I knew it! He chuckles. I knew it was you. When they told me some scrawny little brown bitch had made a mess at an auction, I knew it was you. He tries to run his fingers up my calf. I press my foot harder into the fleshy valley of his groin. It's fun to make him moan like the undead. What did you say? I demand. About me running off without my family seeing me? I finished you after all. He shows me the beef stuck in his teeth. You embarrassed me and you took things that were mine, so I threw you in that stream. It was that easy. You turned and then you ran all the way to the city, here, where I can destroy you again. He tries not to grunt every time I lean my foot deeper into his pelvis. So I shot Hannah, I ask, and then you threw me in the stream, and then I disappeared? My dad didn't fail to see me and recognize me? He didn't fail to shoot me? You stupid sick bitch, he slurs. It's my turn to smile. I lift my foot only high enough to stomp it down on his balls. He screams and faints. I loom over him and shout to Kite, who is pounding on Pierre and Jeff as they crawl out from beneath their collapsed cart. I join her. They shrank from me, not the hulking threats I had remembered. I know these three, I tell Kite as she rolls Pierre around by the collar of his jacket. She cocks her head at him and butts him in the face. I hear bones popping. Kite is rough on faces, but her forehead will heal. Not very pretty, she replies, letting him run a few steps and then tugging him back for more. I kick Jeff in the knee. He smiles meanly and pulls a gun out of his pants, but his arm shakes. I'm not afraid. I'm angry, and I'm happy to take it out on them. Jeff is this one that I'm fighting, the one with the gun, I tell Kite, pointing. You're fighting with Pierre and his mustache. Oh, Ophelia. Kite rolls her eyes, one foot on his stomach. It's Pierre. It's French, darling. Jeff shoots me in the chest at point-blank range. I feel myself splatter on the wall behind me. I don't care. So I'm fighting Jeffy? He aims at my head, his arms shaking harder. I kick the smoking pistol out of his hands. No, it's just Jeff. She pushes Pierre face down on the pavement and twists his arm behind his back. I tackle Jeff and let his nose fall on the asphalt next to Pierre's. My knees on his spine. Donnie still unconscious on top of the flattened cart. Kite snips a short length of wire that held the 5 girls who were for sale. I use it on Jeff's wrists and kick his knee again so they can't get up. When the 2 of them are packaged securely together, Kite rips open her wrist and smears bait on the limestone above their heads. She laughs wickedly, plucking a brown, uneven flyer from its tack on the destroyed wife cart. Your flyers are all so crappy in this town. I could do so much better. She crumples the flyer and jams one into Pierre's mouth. Stop selling girls, or we'll kill you next time, she snarls at them. Only one girl remains, quivering nearby, watching us. The rest of them have fled. She presses herself against the wall when we notice her, but she keeps her shoulders broadly squared and her jaw set. We've got to get out of here. My eyes dart, my ears twitch, and I wait to hear sirens wailing around the corner. It won't be long before a park ranger takes a break from the concert and discovers us destroying his fancier wife's slaving system. We couldn't beat and tie everyone. Boulder together or not, someone will show up and chase us. Follow us. Find our place. Well, we can't keep the girl, Kite says. No, we can't, I agree. You can't stay here, girlie, and you can't come with us. Kite flings a pebble at the girl's chest. She flinches, but she doesn't run away. She has nowhere to go, I say. We should take her to that safe house I mentioned. I mean, I really am impressed that you're not such a sissy as I thought, Kite says. But what on earth makes you think a buyer took those girls to a safe house when you let him go? He probably just kept all those girls. Killed them, or... The buyer in the top hat. Carl, I say. He helped us fight the other buyers and sellers. He described his safe house to me. He told me where it is. Probably just to score all the girls for himself. But let's go check out this supposed safe house before everyone hears all the racket that you just made. No wonder you're scared of daylight and being noticed. Come on, girlie. Kite waves at the young girl. Let's go check out the next harebrained plan of O's. Kite skirts the ranger's building, giving extra kick to each Pierre and Jeff. I spit down on Donnie once more and grab the girl by her holy vest. and to hustle with her towards the old wharf, glancing behind me the whole time. I've been making too much noise. None of the rangers notice what was happening before we're gone, and nobody else cares. About 2 tied and crying sellers. Nobody cares about the girls. Nobody cares about us. The entire long walk across the city. Nobody. They don't care if we were buying or stealing or rescuing the girl we tow behind us. They don't care that we're green beneath fancy hats. We wear nice outfits and walk confidently. The only rangers we see are too fat to chase us and are busy chatting with the owner of a brothel. See, Kite says, this is what acting entitled gets you, and she smirks. Everything. We crouch outside of the old warehouse that Top Hat has described to me at the auction. If this isn't a safe house, if I have given him, Carl, the Top Hat, a van full of girls for free, I don't know what I'll do. And then I hadn't checked on them. I hadn't taken care of them either. The building is all darkened windows and broken corrugated steel siding with the usual dust, dirt, and rusty gashes. Its sides are graffitied with charcoal and other greasy black streaks, like any other warehouse. The doors are all missing or swung wide open, tilted on halves of hinges. There are no spiders in the cracks and crevices, no crows on the roof, no mice scurrying about. Just plywood patched holes and a deep, dead silence surrounding this abandoned factory. New girl, Kite orders. Stay over there while we explore. Hide yourself until we tell you to come out. Kite and I duck inside, smelling nothing, hearing nothing. It's too dark to spy anything but the low ceiling, scraped free of its old industrial equipment, and an old staircase up to the 2nd floor, draped with shredded tarps and empty crates. Kite signals to slowly approach the staircase. There is shuffling above us. Dust wafts. Something zings through the air and makes a soft crunching noise. An arrow sticks out of Kite's leg. We look at it. We look up. A girl appears on the balcony. She holds her shoulders back triumphantly and aims for me next. I almost laugh. What is your stupid problem, kid? Kite hollers threats at this little waif. You stupid squatter, I'm gonna rip into you, and another arrow splashes cleanly into her other leg, dropping her jaw further. She wrenches the arrows out of her thighs and throws them on the ground, bolting for the girl, fists and knife raised high. Her boots ring out on the metal steps of the balcony. Kite! She reaches the girl with a bow and arrow and snatches her up by her clothing, dangling her from one fist, the child's arm twisting and swinging, trying to punch Kite or hit her with the bow. Kite, I call. I think we found it. Put her down. A large metal door behind the bow and arrow girl opens up. It slams heavily into Kite. The bow girl jumps aside and giggles. Crisp golden light pours out of the doorframe. A large man steps into the spotlight it creates. He glows like the electric torch in his hands. He grabs a top hat from the rack inside of the door and puts it on. It's him. This is his house, whether it's safe or not. Kite pushed the door off of her and grabs him by the neck, pressing her blade there. Kite, drop it! I holler above the attack call and swift actions of the bow girl who's reloading. No need to infect anyone while we check it out. Yes, please drop it, Top Hat murmurs. This is his house, Kite, I say again. His name is Carl. I wave for New Girl to join us instead of standing in the middle of the empty floor. Kite relaxes her arms around Top Hat a little bit, who calls off his scrawny bow and arrow security guard. He steps suavely aside, smoothing his suit jacket and bowing lavishly to Kite. She shrugged. He turns to me. Every time I see you, there's somebody at my throat. He offers to shake my hand. I decline. Kite, this is Carl, I introduce. He says he runs a safe house here. She gapes, more impressed now that she has time to eye the velvet strolling cape swishing about his shoulders. His polished boots and pleated pants don't escape her attention either. She extends her hand, demurely. Si llama Carlos, si? Capa caliente. Mi amo Kite. He kisses her hand, encantado. He gestures that we're welcome to enter the second floor. Kite turns to me and the new girl, who is timidly picking her way up the stairs. Come on, new girl, let's go. New girl speaks up. My name is Cherry. Great. Hurry up, let's follow this fabulous man. Carl holds his hand out again for Kite and Bowgirl to enter. Kite bows her thanks to Carl, but as she does, Bowgirl slides past her and slaps her on her leg wounds. Kite glowers and may have slapped her back, but the girl was too fast. Come on, Sherry. I hold the door open. Let's go see if this is a home for you. I apologize for not being able to correctly pronounce any of the languages in which I can read. Story time!